to now invite Dr. Sonal Nakar to come and speak as our third speaker and giving a presentation today on the experiences of vet teachers during and post-COVID. So thanks, Sonal.
Thank you, Sue. Let me share my screen. Oh, sorry, apologies. Give me 1 minute. The Teams is playing up just at the moment when I don't want it to. Just give me 1 second, please.
I'm just going to say while Sonal fixes up her screen, I think maybe we should write a short note to the PVC, no, hang on, what's it called? DVC Education, Teaching and Learning, whoever they are, Sean Ewan and Liz Bird, just as a reminder that while the university is struggling with retention, we do actually have a lot of experts who could provide very specific advice on issues that are relating to neurodiverse students, and that would be a good way to make us, stand out from other universities as well. So it's sort of a virtual out loud note to myself to do that. Okay, I'm going to stop now. Back to Sonal.
Thank you for bearing that. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. So this was based on a seeding grant that I applied last year regarding investigating the teacher experiences, particularly in vocational sector during and post COVID-19. So there are two parts to this, and I'll come to that. This is the just put a DOI for the publication. Can you still see my screen?
No, it has just gone off. It has closed. We've got you full screen again now.
Sorry.
That's back.
That's back?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, when I'm sharing my screen, it's just not going to the next tab.
Is this a Mac?
Yes.
This could be a Chris Bigham answer. What's going on here?
Oh dear. I don't know what else to do.
Sonal, you need to select the window for your presentation.
Yeah, just
are you selecting screen or window?
Just a moment. I'm just trying to figure it out. Sorry. Thank you. Can you see the next screen now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, perfect. All right. I would like to start by acknowledging our country. So would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and pay my respect to elders past and present. Still the same problem. Sorry. All right, hopefully this works now.
Yes.
So the background was that we all know COVID-19 pandemic caused rapid changes, abruptly shifting everything from face-to-face to online for higher education, vocational school, everyone. So we have some experience, some idea of the challenges or the positives that has brought to us. But particularly for me, having a background in vocational sector and the shortage of teachers in that sector and the importance of job readiness, particularly learning by doing. So like if somebody is learning carpentry and all that, so how do you learn that? All right. All these things brought an idea of, and speaking with colleagues, an idea of putting a grant for this research. So I wanted to know how teachers work through this kind of problems when the value clashed, when it was not clear what to do, and then what is there, like what what research says around the world, what is the support and development given to teachers for all these things. So the aim was to uncover the experiences of VET teachers. Now, there are two stages to the study. I wanted to first see what was done worldwide. So I did a systematic literature review on that. And today, this paper is just about the systematic literature review, and I will swiftly highlight the second stage, which was my study. But I'll talk about literature review first. So started with the keywords about vocational teacher, their lived experiences, their challenges, accountability, and well-being of the teachers. And the question was what challenges were faced by VET teachers and what support was provided to them. So did a database and came up with 402, did the selection screening and everything, and came up to 26 articles, which were posted in different journals from 20 different countries, and 11 of them were from USA. Because the basic criteria was English, peer-reviewed, and scholarly full-text journals. So the challenges were identified as teaching practical subjects online. So in vocational sector, it was very difficult for teachers because it involved teaching practical skills, and B, students were constantly complaining that they were not able to cope up with the live demonstration of how to teach something online. And the second challenge that I would like to connect with it is the professional experience and training. So what happened is the teacher, almost everybody moved to online within a fraction of a second, if I may say. So then that left with little to no training, particularly for teachers who were very resistant to change and resistant to technology and all that kind of stuff. So for such teachers to then be trained at no additional cost in their hours to remove all the content or to modify the content for making it suitable to adjust to differentiated needs of the students in teaching online was a task. Resource and access, that was the thing that widened the gap, the digital divide, the increased inequity, particularly papers from Indonesia, South Africa, Argentina, and Botswana. They identified the challenges as students having no data, no Wi-Fi access, no smartphones or laptops. Some of them didn't even have shelter during COVID. So that was the thing that really created or increased inequity in that sense. Communication and interaction with students. Now, we all know how students are becoming more and more passive in online classes, and the engagement is always a big issue for us. So teachers, what they resorted to, and many studies mentioned that they actually altered their assessment to make it like more collaborative assessment, so that they thinking that students will engage more if they are working in group, but actually it further dampened that move, and the impact on student interaction and outcome was even more impacted. It was more affected, it was worsened. Student experience and engagement. So because of this lack of engagement, teachers were worried about the fair learning experiences that this particular COVID cohort got before, as compared to their cohort before. And they were very worried that these students, if they go out in the industry, they might not be accepted, particularly knowing that they wouldn't have enough transferable skills for job readiness. And the social and the emotional impact. But good thing about student experience was that some of the students who are visual learners or who loved, or social people, they loved that engagement. So they loved learning through video clips, instructions, quizzes, and online presentations. So there is a silver lining to that as well. Social and emotional impact was of course, isolation. That was a major worry about the mental health that students and teachers mentioned about it. But what teachers mentioned is that the mental impact on them, because they could not then bifurcate the time, family time, and they was just constantly working, and they couldn't see themselves stopping from working even after working hours. So they were no more 9 to 5. However, there are not only negatives towards it. So the literature also suggested the positive aspects. In some countries, there were technology loan programs given to students. There were equipment installed in college parking areas to provide Wi-Fi access. There were weekly online forums for the purpose of creating a platform to share challenges and the best practices for students and for teachers. So that was really encouraging to see that the organization or the RTO, registered training organizations, they are really offering their best. One of the RTO in Brisbane got an award for the highest satisfaction from student, the SET and SEC scores, something like that, for supporting students in COVID. So it's not all that bad for as well. Teacher proficiency and pedagogical impact. Now, some teachers mentioned that they had a real transformative learning experience. So they were innovative in their pedagogical practice. They came together, collaborated. I remember interviewing, and that's the second part, and I will tell about that here right now, because one of the teachers mentioned that when I interviewed the second part of the project, that they came up with creative solutions of how to for carpentry lessons, because it is very, very difficult and extremely dangerous for students to do in their own house without any supervision. So how they came up with collaborative approaches, innovative approaches, where it will be very safe for students. Solution and benefits is, in spite of all these problems, there are literature do suggest that there is a driver of mastery and implementation of innovative technologies, but they're also offering solutions for mental health that was not easily available before. So they are more conscious of students and teachers' mental health and transferability of life skills. So more focus on life skills than just on job readiness all the time. So what happened, what came out of this was that there was a degree of discomfort for sure. There was an educational concern regarding the student outcome for sure. But at the same time, teacher took it upon themselves to be really sensitive, particularly with the diversity of the students that they had. And it also served as a catalyst for vast pedagogical improvements. So given the field of vocational education, field where there is too much of funding, government funding. I'm not sure if you're aware, in 2024, there's a lot of funding available to vocational sector because the government has realized that there is a lot of teacher shortages in this sector and we need more teachers. And in absence of teachers and their well-being, what will happen is that we will have out-of-field teachers who will then come and teach something that they are not comfortable with, again leading to that vicious circle of retention, attrition issues. So that led me to do the second part of my research, which was the second stage, was my own study. So the first was a literature review from all around the world, and you can read about it in the DOL that I've placed. But this is under review. So what happened was that I interviewed 10 teachers from Australia, and it's empirical research on different subject areas, and I asked the same questions to them. And it's a very, very interesting, much more in depth than just generic issues that were caused by or that were brought upon in literature review. And I presented this study at, so the first stage of the study I presented in Athens conference in Greece, which was very well received there. And the second part of the study, which was my study in Australia, was presented at Oxford University in Journal of Vocational Educational and Training Conferences. And from there, many people in vocational sector connected with it. So now we are actually doing a global study with Gurney Institute in France, along with another lecturer at CQU. So and we are actually seeing the comparison of data of the VET teachers and their readiness and support, particularly when the focus is on shortage of teachers. So that's it from me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sonal. I have to say you have stimulated the most very active chat going on at the same time as you're saying. People are putting up their responses to what you're saying and then generating more questions and more responses. So thank you so much. But I'll open it now for some verbal questions from the group. Harry.
Sorry, I must have zoned out. So what was their solution to teaching practical courses online? ADHD, awesome.
So there is from the literature review, that is the first part.
Yeah.
Yes. So there was a more collaborative approach. So instead of teachers just worrying about it, they started taking classes together collaboratively, and because some of the universities in some areas, not in rural unfortunately, but some areas were offering the tools, the loan, so the students could go to a place and just
Right.
use it on equipment, but in absence of teachers. So the solution was
Not
to bring
ideal.
not ideal at all. But that came out of literature review.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Oh, okay. So they somehow managed to create a in-person experience that
Yes.
supplemented the online.
Correct.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Harry. Okay, Natalie.
Sorry, I just kept raising and lowering my hand because I thought my question was answered, and then I thought it wasn't answered, but then it got answered again. I actually wanted to know what was that innovative lesson to teach about carpentry, but I think he just answered my question.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I can see there was a chat here about the amount of support for teaching online well. Is that something that you felt the literature did look into, or it didn't? Or it was implied that, of course, we would do it better if there was more investment in teaching online well?
Yeah, absolutely. Teachers cried for support and access to many things all the time. So that was a literature, and something of this came out of my study as well, where teachers really are asking for support from union as well. How in education sector we have a teachers union. In vocational sector we I cannot say anymore that there is no union, because there are two private institutions offering something that is like a wet teacher support forum, but they are not well known. So one of them presented in Oxford, and we said, we didn't know. You come from Melbourne and we had no idea that you existed. So there needs to be more awareness about such things. So they really asked for a lot of support and access. And let me tell you, some of the teachers are so intrigued by this new learning. They are so transformed that all they want to do is just teach online now. So they're the plus and the minuses.
Okay. Well, I think we unless we have any other questions, I haven't seen a hand go up, but I think we would join in with thanking Sonal for your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
And yeah, there's definitely, if you have time, go back and have a look at all the questions that are there in the chat and the conversation, because I think that would be really, really useful for you to have a look at, and perhaps you can reply to those people as well.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, so that wraps up our 3 talks, but now we are handing back to Leonie, who's going to give us a